Hey everybody, happy Monday, and this is the week. This is Fed Week, where Bernanke does his thing on Thursday, and as thin a chance as any big news is on the court decision Wednesday, that prospect is still there. Just showing social trade briefly here for a couple of reasons. One, as a reminder that it is the place to be. I was reminded to bring it up because although I'm not going to share the figure, we passed an important milestone as far as registered users, which is pretty exciting. We've also got some nice press coverage coming up in about 3 weeks that should boost usage even more. So socialtrade.com, be there. All right, as far as the markets go, going to just do a quick market video before I go off to a couple of meetings I've got to tackle. Crude oil, not doing much of anything amazing, but this broken trend line is still encouraging. We snapped it a couple of weeks back and been kind of monkeying around the $96 level here for a while. I'm day trading this. Friday with some success today. Took a tiny loss on one trade, but really not doing much of it. But the weakness here is pretty encouraging to me. There was more weakness on the NASDAQ today, strange enough, because the NASDAQ's been the champion for equity bulls for years now, especially this year. But starting to kind of roll away from that breakout. It had broken out on Friday. Looked like it could follow through today, but it didn't. It just slumped down over 1%. And although I haven't researched why, our friends at Apple are a big part of the reason this down almost $18 on this, almost 3% for Apple. Big move down today. Doesn't get too exciting unless we can break this, and even more so break this level. If it got really weak, like if the iPhone 5 came out and it was like a, imprinted cardboard and nothing more, I would look to this trend line as our most ambitious downside target. But Apple was no friend of the NASDAQ today. Looking at the NQ, down a hefty 34 3/4 points and mashed right up against the breakout zone. I'm recording this just after the close on Monday, so who knows what it'll look like by the time you watch this video. And as far as the S&P 500, the wedge that I pointed out, zooming in here, we can see this is the important area of resistance. If we do get weakness, God willing, this is the crucial trend line to be watching. If by some miracle, and I don't really count on it, Bernanke disappoints or Bernanke doesn't disappoint, but the market still flips them off and rolls lower, this is the absolutely key one to watch in terms of potential breakage. I am getting more enthused about my miners shorting habit, which I set aside for quite some time. I shorted GDXJ and GDX today. I took profits on GDXJ because I figured, GDX is enough. But it was nice to have a nice profitable day trade on the juniors. The XAU here, we've got a pretty clean area of this descending trend line of resistance. But as far as GDX, I've got a medium-sized position on this until, God, I hate saying this name all the time, Bernanke is done. I'm not totally comfortable with getting aggressive on this, but this 51.79 gap is crystal clear to watch. I didn't touch bonds today at all. They ambled around for a bit, but it's just too weird of a beast right now for me. It's still a nice bearish setup, but bonds are kind of a creature unto themselves, and I am kind of avoiding them for the moment. TLT provides another angle in terms of where to look for support and resistance. And I think this ascending trend line is pretty key to watch. And if you squint, I guess you can imagine a head and shoulders here, although it's a very poorly defined neckline. But the right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder, which is good. But that accompanied by breaking that trend line would, I think, make the bond bears smile. Had a nice winner with PXP today. This is one I've mentioned before, closing down a double-digit percentage today on very strong volume. In fact, either record or close to record volume. So, hooray. I'd mentioned that as a short idea. Some others I've been doing, or I'm already in, ARMH. This is retraced to, I think, a really clean spot in terms of that pattern. Cliff, I re-entered today at a really good price. I got into this like at about 42. and it slumped. It was up, strangely, it was up about 3 or 4% earlier. That's why I shorted it. So I'm already in a nice profit on that one. But this is just a terrific looking pattern. So I'm back into Clef. GG is another one I got into today. Another precious metal oriented one here. Fantastic looking pattern. I've got puts and short on HUM, which rolled over today almost 3%, and ROK, which was down a little over 1%. I like the retrace to the trend line on this one. I also entered a new short on EEM. Here we zoom in and we can see getting some movement away from this horizontal line, away from that very large trend line. And although I covered my short last week at a profit, sorry to say, this continues to slump. TEO down another almost 5% today. $10 was support, now it's resistance. Very ugly looking chart unless you're short it. Wrap up with a couple of Forex. The Kiwi still looks good. We've stayed beneath this resistance line on the NZD/USD. And I have, for the first time in ages, gotten into an FXE short position. We flipped around today. It had been, I'll change this to an intraday, it had been trying to form another saucer here, and then it just kind of fell all to pieces. So I'm back into FXE. So as far as my portfolio, I came into today super light, 28% committed, 72% cash. But I'm heavier now. I've bumped that up to 43% committed, 57% cash, still all in shorts as I was at the beginning of the day. 43 different positions, but I'm almost certainly going to stay greater than half in cash until our dear friend Dr. Benjamin Shalom Bernanke does his thing. God bless him. All right. Oh, and by the way, if you've actually listened to this song, I will mention that another bearish sign is that the quantity and the level of hatred foisted upon this blog and its gentle founder have really reached new heights. So and you know who I'm talking about, but the perma bulls out there are just really went hog wild over the past few days with Tim slamming. So I don't know what pathetic lives these guys have that they feel compelled to do such things, but they've got black little hearts, and karma's a bitch. See you later. I love most of you.